Late last month, President-elect Donald Trump revealed more details about his plan to put new tariffs in place on products coming into the U.S. In a post on his Truth Social platform, the president-elect wrote that on his first day in office, he'll impose a 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada. He also said he will enact a 10% tariff on China above any additional tariffs on products coming into the U.S. The president-elect says the tariffs will remain in place until drugs, namely fentanyl, and undocumented immigrants stop coming into the country. Now, a tariff is basically a tax on imports, and it is paid by the companies bringing in the products. The president-elect says tariffs will create more factory jobs and shrink the federal deficit. Some economists say putting immediate tariffs in place will raise prices of imported items all at once, and that those costs will be passed on to consumers. To discuss the potential financial implications for your money, we're joined by Rob Wilson, who is a financial advisor. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about what this would mean and what consumers should be prepared for if these tariffs were to go into effect. We're talking about prices that could change for what consumers pay. Is that how we should read that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think we all have to start from the same place of factually how this works, right? And so as you mentioned, it's not the foreign country that's paying the tariffs. It's the company that's importing the products, and most likely those costs are going to be passed on to the consumer. This happens in 95% of the cases. So if you were worried about inflation before, you should be absolutely concerned about new tariffs because those prices are going to raise groceries, vehicles, a lot of the things that you count on buying every day. We're probably going to see those prices go up.
Yeah, is there a difference in the impact when you're talking about something like a component that goes into a larger item like a car or a piece of electronics versus some produce? Is there a difference in how you might see the impact?
Well, generally, but I think the president-elect is now talking about slapping a tariff on all imported goods across the board. So before we were sort of targeting specific items, and even the Biden administration admittedly has put some tariffs on some specific items that they thought were important. So solar cells, electric vehicles, things that they did want to try to protect in the U.S. But now if you just slap a across the board tariff on everything, then you sort of just going to see prices go up across the board.
So what would this mean then for consumers in terms of the array of choices that you have? Would you expect this is going to mean you'll have, these products over here that are higher priced because of tariffs, and these products over here that are maybe made in the U.S. that are cheaper? How is that going to work for you?
I don't think that's actually what we saw before. So if we go back a couple of years, because we've seen this story play out, the president-elect previously put tariffs on washing machines because we wanted to bring some of those jobs back and protect that industry. Well, what we saw was once you implemented the tariffs, the prices of washing machines and dryers actually went up because the U.S. producers said, well, I can probably raise my price now because they can't get those goods anywhere else. So it's not the fact that
supply and demand.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We would love for companies to be altruistic and say, oh, well, we'll keep our goods priced low because the tariffs are on. That's just not what we've seen in practice.
Are there things that could be done to blunt the impact on consumers? I mean, the president-elect has certain goals in wanting to do this, but there could, as you're saying, be consequences for consumers. Are there things that could be done to blunt the impact to consumers?
Well, I think generally what economists are saying is that maybe there are other ways to get accomplished what you want to get accomplished without doing tariffs. So, for example, years ago, we put sanctions on some Chinese technology companies like Huawei, and we banned those products from coming into the United States because they were stealing intellectual property, and we thought it was a national security issue. And so that was a really targeted effort that did have some positive effects that didn't necessarily affect every mobile phone that a consumer wanted to buy. And so I think people are suggesting that maybe there's an end around way to, get China to play on a level playing field, which is what everybody wants, without affecting everybody's wallet.
A lot more to watch as this plays out. Rob Wilson, thanks so much for your time. We look forward to talking to you again.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.